sure you've got a little bit ready for the day here. We're getting ready for Halloween tomorrow. Hold on, I gotta put my glasses on. I am a Nounish Flamingo, so you can see. And we've got Carmen Sandiego over here. Um, you kind of look like where in the world is
I love
Carmen
it.
Sandiego. I love it. So we thought we'd have some fun. And good morning, Farcaster. It is Monday, October 30th, so this makes a little more sense, hopefully, to you. And we are excited to be here chatting about all things Farcaster. How are you doing this morning?
Doing good.
Good.
Exciting, had an exciting weekend. It was
What'd you do?
a packed Farcaster weekend. I curated Outcasters.
That's right. I'm very excited. Let's take a look at that. Very exciting. So we've got our snapshot 016 with curated by Adrian and cover art by Jazz Lisp Lisp Jazz Lisp. Is that's the photo that's right there, right? That's
The
amazing.
cover photo, yeah, and if you scroll down, the very last photo of the curation, there's another photo by Jazz Lisp, which is
Oh,
the one
amazing.
that just completely captivated me. It's stunning. It's so dramatic,
Amazing. I'm
and
just scrolling down now through all the photos. So these are you got to curate this
I curated.
particular one. This is amazing.
And I gotta
Ooh, that's
say, I,
weird.
like, love Outcasters every week, just l like, it's just such a nice
So
break
visual.
from reading,
Yeah. Oh,
and,
there's
it was a
Cameron's
lot of
banana. That was
it was a
so
lot of
funny.
pressure. By the way, if I chose sexy banana and then a hot dog right after,
Yeah.
what does that say about
I
me?
don't know. It says something
I
though. Oops, let me
didn't
go
notice
to
that till after I sent it, but,
yeah. That was
so I
funny.
was spending this weekend collecting links or ordering links and figuring out which ones casts and which image to include.
Incredible. These are incredible. Oh, you got the oh cool. That's the new there's a new addition to the NFT wall and it has a noun's camera on it, which is pretty cool. Mr. Boney's been on there for a while. That's the big wall in I think it's in Williamsburg or Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Amazing. These photos are incredible. I'm just scrolling through right now, so I know you can't see it on the screen, but I want to make sure everyone else could see it. Oh, that last photo is amazing. Really beautiful. So great work, Adrian, on the curation this week. That is amazing. Those photos are amazing. I have to go back and look through them again because there were some beauties in there. There's one that's of this building. I'm curious where the building is. So I definitely want to go back and look at it and click on it because it has like this mosaic or something. It's beautiful. So I have to go dig into what that was all about. But how did you like doing the process of curating? What was that
It
like?
was great, and it's work.
Yeah.
It's additional it's a little bit of work, and and you wanna do it well, so there's a little bit of pressure. But it was
Can
great.
you tell we've got some folks in the chat who don't know what Outcasters is. Can you explain a
Oh,
little bit about what
okay.
Outcasters is?
Okay, so Outcasters is a project by Ghost Links. Um, so follow them if you're not. It is a weekly newsletter on Paragraph. You can sign up. I think it's Paragraph, but a weekly newsletter. It is a visual snapshot that captures things on Farcaster. He usually has guest curators coming in, not every week. But it's I don't know, we'll drop the link, but follow
Yep.
Ghost Links or check out something I casted last night if you wanted to see the preview. There's a link, but it's a
And all of these, if you click on the actual images, will bring you to the cast. I'm just not so that we don't get too out of topic here, but it is pretty cool. And then it always has the top 30 active users, including replies, which I think I fell off the list this week. What did you do to me?
get back
See, you
on
took
there.
over and I got bumped. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out
Oh,
this week.
DeWoofy had the best no, not DeWoofy, Cameron had the best line. He saw DWR at the top. He said,
Yeah.
"DWR, get a life for real."
Like, get out of get out of this. Get out of this list. It's so
Everyone's
funny.
fighting to get
That
on that list. Everyone is fighting to get on
so
that list, then
funny.
you get on the list and you think, "You gotta get off of it."
I know because yeah, because you're like, I'm spending too much time on this social platform. I need to get off of here. I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happens.
Can
But I also didn't get
and
myself on there on purpose either. So Kind of just
One
happens.
of the one of the best things about Adcasters is there's a this week, last year. So if you scroll to
Yes.
there's 30 pictures, 30 images or 30 casts that are highlighted. And then at the bottom, there's 5 casts from a year ago in Farcaster, which is phenomenal. So that was like, I just had the best time picking from those. I thought I picked 5 really good
You
ones.
did. Is that Jack getting married? It looks like maybe.
Jack,
Um,
happy anniversary,
I
Jack.
think so. I think so. It looks like it. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I always loved that last year, and I think it's going to get even more interesting over time to see, what we were doing a year ago next year will be really fascinating. If only Unlonely Chats were Cass, then I'd be closer to yeah, you'd be closer for sure. We appreciate you as well. So, unfortunately, that does not tie in yet, but not a bad idea, honestly. As part of the conversation liquidity providers, if you're providing some conversational liquidity on chats on Lonely, it's all connected. So, I think there's something to that. So what else is happening? We've got a big thing that happened. We've got to talk about on Friday. Friday feature warps. Like all of a sudden, airdrop time. Friday feature warps. Warps are rewards given to users by Warpcast, redeemable to connect Farcaster apps without spending money, retroactively given to early beta testers and active users, current active users. So from Dan, warps make it a little easier for people to try out your Farcaster app. So if you've been delaying an integration because of signer cost friction, hopefully this helps. So that's exciting. And it is approximately 5 free signers for roughly 10K recently active users. That's pretty exciting. And then Alex Grover said, "Hey, you." Yes, you. Are you wondering what to use your 100 warps on? Me too. Please show me your favorite Farcaster apps. And then he did mention later as one of them. And Abura was another one that was in one of Dan's posts, Cass. So you experimented with using warps. So tell us about your experience because I have yet to try it. I'm a little confused. I got to be honest.
About how to use warps.
Yeah, I'm a little like,
But
what is
you've
this?
but you've signed you've downloaded
Yes.
Abora, you've connected
Yeah,
your
so
Farcaster account to other apps.
yeah, everything was already connected with the Burr, so I couldn't experiment with that because I was already there, I think. So I think it was only for new, because I was already grandfathered in or something. So what exactly, so tell us about your process and what you had
So,
to do.
I missed this kind of phase in Farcaster history when you had to pay for signups. So, at some point, there were apps and I was signing up. I remember back with Jam and maybe some other ones, and I don't remember having to pay for anything.
Yeah, I think we were early.
Maybe it was on testnet or something was covered. Then there's this period where it's like, "Oh, now you gotta pay because it's an on-chain transaction." Um, and I didn't do anything in that window. Voila, Warp show up, and which happened to be right the week I joined Purple and started getting pings of saying, "Hey, you should download Abora. Make sure you get set up through there." Something, something, something. And so I did that last night. Went to Abora, downloaded it. I mean, it's as easy as you click to connect your account. It opens up in Warpcast, and you just say use 30 warps.
That's it. Okay.
That was it.
So
So
it's
it's just okay. It's completely integrated in, completely
cool.
seamless, very easy. The amount of warps you
So
use
essentially
apparently is variable.
it's taking the place of an in-app purchase. Is that correct? So you're
Exactly.
purchasing in-app but with warps. Okay. And then yeah, what did it cost you in warps for Abura?
30 warps
Okay. And for how long does that cover you? I don't know.
forever
Is it
where I
forever?
want my
Is it like
money
a one
back.
time? I have no idea. That's why I'm asking. Is it a one-time thing or is it like I don't know.
I don't know. FAQ, anyone in the chat know
Anyone
more
know?
about warps than
We
us?
don't know. I mean, I guess it would depend on each app, I would think. So basically, Warp save $1 to connect FC apps, which is pretty decent. Yeah, I would agree. Um, Connecting to 2 FC apps last week and got Warps right after. Oh no, monkey legs. Um, Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, there's people who are like, I just did this. If only I'd waited. But I think it is really interesting. I think it's a creative way to offer an quote unquote airdrop, but that it doesn't turn into something that's like has extrinsic intrinsic value outside of the ecosystem. So I think it protects from like that crazy airdrop farming. Because it's only going to be able to be useful within the ecosystem, which I think that is incredibly useful. Like, I think that's great, and it's going to definitely encourage more builders because they'll know there won't be this barrier for people to actually use their app. So that's pretty cool.
And I feel bad. We just do a quick shout out to all the founders out there. I
Yeah.
feel so badly that you have to build for human beings because we are so annoying and complicated. Like, it costs a freaking dollar like, that
Yeah.
shouldn't be friction. Like,
Yeah.
I spend a dollar on stupid things every day, and yet I didn't do it, and then warps come free. Okay, we did it. So the whole psychology and getting people to take action, just props to the
Yeah.
founders out there.
Thanks for hanging in there and dealing with us. Um, yeah, and I do think this is, I think this is a really creative way to tackle this kind of a problem and hopefully see some additional development. So really creative. I like this idea. It would be cool too if maybe some of the DAOs could sponsor some warps, which I don't know exactly how that would work, but where we could drop like if Purple wanted to sponsor, I don't know, 30 warps to anybody or something. I don't know what that would all equal, but that could be interesting as well, where you could have other organizations actually giving out warps would be kind of cool. So we'll see. Or it would be cool if we could do that. Like we could give you all a warp for coming to GM Farcaster or something like that that then could be
That
used on apps. Ooh, that's an idea.
I love that. And one of the themes, since I've joined Farcaster, and again, it's been about a year, right, is this kind of push-pull between Dan and Varun and Merkle and the greater Farcaster protocol, and their stated goal of we wanna be the biggest, best Farcaster app, but
Right.
also the protocol won't succeed unless there is a proliferation of apps doing net new behavior, and we really want developers to innovate. And I think we've seen this play out a little bit, but I this is, they we're not going to succeed unless there's a million apps trying different things.
Absolutely. And we have to see what
And
works. Yeah, and you need lots of experimentation to figure out what really works, what people resonate with. I love this comment, Monkey D links, purple the where did it go? Building for humans is the whole point of technology. Technology works for us by definition. Yeah. So exactly to your point there that we need to experiment and figure out what works for humans. So and it's the same thing about DAOs. What I'm always talking about with Nouns Builders, we need thousands of DAOs to figure out what works in DAOs and what doesn't, because we don't know really yet. The free thing is really something that Web3 is solving. Yeah, definitely. Things are not free and never have been, so we have to find ways to do some creativity. Um, a warps per NFT would be pretty cool. Ooh, that's interesting too. Ooh, that's an idea. We could be giving away warps to those who collect our NFT, our episodes. So that's an idea. We'll have to think this through and see if we can come up with some creative uses of warps. I think that could be fun. Uh, Anything else on warps that we want to talk about before we slide in? And happy Halloween! Oh my God, this headgear on Halloween special. Yes, we're doing. This is a very special GM Farcaster today, Grace. It's the Halloween special, and I am a nounish
is it
flamingo.
time for costume change?
We should do a costume change. So while we costume change, I am going to put on the screen, let's talk about the network state. So the network state is happening, network state conference is happening right now as we speak. I did jump on this morning quickly, and I did see Grin was one of the um, first folks up on the stage talking about cabin, and that was super exciting. And the full conference schedule can be found here on Balaji's page here, full program in detail, or in the Network State channel. Take a peek. And yeah, so that, are you ready with your costume change? I hope I'm ready. I'm not even
I'm a
sure.
nounish fox.
Okay, here we go. Nounish Fox, and I am Shark Dow. So hopefully you can see it is now a shark head, and I am Shark Dow. There you go. So anyway, I'm going to take this off. The Network State Conference has been really interesting so far. I've only watched a little bit of it. Balaji came out, did an intro. Grin, our friend Grin from Farcaster, came out and talked about cabin, and then they were going through some other communities, and really interesting. I think the other one that came up next after Grin that I was watching is neighborhood in San Francisco, and that was really interesting. And then I also had seen one earlier about Prospera too, and then I went back and tried to start at the beginning. So it's all day long. They're talking about different communities that are creating parallel um, societies, essentially, either network states or in physical locations. And you had pointed out some things that they were talking about also in terms of parallel. And let's talk a little bit about that because that was fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it was like the morning by the way, this is like, is it Central European Time, CET, 5 hours ahead? I
Yes.
don't know what it was, but I didn't
Yep.
wake up at 5 AM to watch. Um,
I
Hopefully there's some
jumped on. Yeah,
recordings.
I was going to. There are recordings. You can watch it on YouTube, and I did go back. So that's what I did was I rewound back a little bit so I could see Grin talk about cabin and all of that.
Excellent.
So
Yeah, so Cabin and those are kind of like what are the organizations trying to make it easier to aggregate in physical space? So I think Cabin
exactly.
is creating co-living spaces for people, co-working, co-living. Um, Completely non sequitur, but
Yeah.
I have some old hippie aunts that lived on communes
There you go.
in
Yeah.
in the '60s, and I just kind of love the repeating and of the let's get together. Okay. Other areas, parallel society. So there was the, parallel media,
Parallel
I think
media.
was a whole section, and that is
Mhm.
the one that, Dan is
We found
doing
very
a talk
interesting.
on.
Yeah.
So he'll be talking about Farcaster, but just, all the different things. So I know Nounish Prof and I with GM Farcaster are talking about this experiment as an experiment in parallel media, and
Absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
it's very early, but we're streaming on Unlonely, we're putting out episodes as NFTs, and this feels
And then
like
we're also developing some things like that, figuring out ways to do this as a decentralized group so that, eventually you might see this. It's on my channel right now, but some days it might be on Adrian's once we get her set up. Or it might be, we might bring on other hosts on other days and it might be on their channel. So, like, figuring out different ways that we can do this in a decentralized manner. And I think that really speaks to everything that they're talking about with the network state and how do you create these societies that can live just online too, these on-chain communities really. So that to me is super interesting and it's exciting to see this conference like and all having all these conversations about all these different aspects of it because to me it's just so fascinating to think about can we create this whole other society and can I live wherever I want and still be a part of it is to me like really interesting. So and
well,
exciting.
one of the topics that's come up a lot over the last few conversations we've had is internet friends.
Yes.
It came up a few times last week, and, Biology writes this grand vision for the network state where it's network first, online first, but eventually, picking up land, picking up power, and then competing with actual states, head nation states. But it does feel like this is where it starts, and the internet being able to pull in like-minded, friendly people, and you're making kind of friendships throughout the world. So, I think what we're doing at Farcaster is something important and special,
I
and
do too. Yeah,
feels
for
good to be
sure.
here.
It feels good to be here, and this is why we're doing this. It was funny because Monkey D Links did just say, "I don't know about this Balaji dude," and you know what? I think that's everybody's feeling. We all are a little like, well, I'll speak for myself. When I read Network State, there's a lot of things that resonated with me, and a lot that did not. There's a lot that I'm like, that's a little far out for me. So I don't always agree with his approach on everything, but I think the overall concept is on point and sort of where we're going. And I feel like, we're there. We're seeing it, we're experiencing it already. So it's to me, that's the bigger part of
If
this
your if your first taste of biology is his $1,000,000 bet on which is
on
complete
Bitcoin.
stunt, I understand the
Yeah.
the distaste, and it's a little like if your first taste of Elon is seeing his antics on
Yeah.
Twitter,
Yep.
X, you're like, "Oh,
X.
who is this?" So you gotta go back into the annals of biology,
Definitely. Yeah.
history,
It's
but
it's
well,
there's a lot to him. There's a lot of aspects to him. But I do think the the fact that he's bringing together all the folks who are sort of talking about parallel societies and network states and how do we do this, I think is really important. And I appreciate his leadership on that aspect, even if I don't always agree with everything that he's saying. Yeah, the network. So in the chat, they were talking about the neighborhood one was great since he also talked about organizing an unconference. I saw that as well. That was really interesting. Um, Scaling culture is it? Yeah, that's a huge um, thing to consider because culture grows slowly and gets integrated. And when you're trying to actually create culture, it's a little challenging for sure. Um, and I'm just looking through Nakamoto coefficient. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a whole other. Ooh, the chatbot answered and everything. Okay. Unlonely is getting the unlonely chat today is off the rails. It's fantastic. I don't think I was aware that chatbot could answer questions within the chat. So thank you, Eggs, um, who we know as Grace, that the chatbot will answer what the Nakamoto coefficient is a measure of the degree of centralization in a cryptocurrency network. It is calculated as a ratio of the number of unique addresses holding at least 1 unit of the currency to the total number of units in circulation. I didn't know it had that name. I've heard of um, that ratio discussed in different, especially around DAOs, but I didn't realize it had a name. So there we go. And we are out of time. We're actually a little over. We'll blame the costume change and, but also the very interesting chat. So I didn't know that chatbot could do that. So this is very, very good to know. Be asking things in our chat from now on when we don't know the answers. Um, like, hey, somebody in the chat, ask the chatbot what the heck is going on.
what was the chatbot trained on? Because I have questions about warps that I have a feeling won't be answered.
Won't be answered. I don't think so yet. We'll have to train it better. But we have to end it there. We're already over by a couple minutes. Have an amazing day, everyone. Happy Halloween. I hope you enjoyed our insanity this morning. And please grab all your funny glasses, hats, costumes, and enjoy the next couple days. And I love the Fox. I think it's just so fun. And we will see you all on Wednesday. And we might have a time change. Do we have a time change Wednesday? I forget now what we're doing, but we'll talk. I can't remember if we're
It's
going
con
early or what we're doing, but we'll double check with you. And then also on Wednesday, so this is what we'll have to figure out. At noon, I'm going to be interviewing Grace and Brian along with Toady Hawk from Zero Pod, and so that's going to be really interesting. We're going to do it live on Unlonely, and then it'll be followed by on the Zero Pod podcast. So that's exciting. So anyway, we will see you all on Wednesday, and GM Farcaster, have a fabulous Halloween.